Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Bear with me. Give me 1 second to make sure I've got everything up and running. So I don't imagine today's session is going to be too long. I am definitely fighting a head cold, and it's been killing me all day. I feel like my head's in a vice. So we will get through just kind of what I'm looking at for the week. And then, of course, whatever you guys are looking at or possibly on the watch list, we'll kind of break some stuff down. I know somebody had mentioned in the Aporia group to go through BTC. I will definitely take a look at BTC, see what it's doing, and then go from there. So bear with me. Let me just make sure I got this YouTube thing up and going. All right, and we do. All right, cool. Yeah, man, it is. So I went on vacation with my wife last week, and I'm sure just being in various airports, just I got that crud. So yeah, my head is killing me, and yeah, I mean it's nothing crazy. It's just it's like typical sinus pressure and just a persistent stupid cough, man. That's what I got. But let's dive into it. Let me move over this Zoom thing, and hopefully, I don't know how everybody's last week was. Outside of indices, I really didn't catch much last week. For the most part, it was just because it was a dead week. We really didn't have a lot of volatility at play. But what we do see this week is obviously I've got my eyes on Kiwi, right? NZD coming out this week. We do have their monetary policy and rate statement. So essentially their FOMC. Tomorrow morning, we're going to have some volatility in retail sales, which is definitely going to affect what indices are doing. We're going to have tomorrow night Australian dollar, right, giving out their jobs reports. So they're essentially their NFP. And then of course we have some pound CPI data, right? And that's what we got going on here. So I'm very curious to see what all the data is going to show. I'm going to be targeting what the technicals are showing me, and I'm just going to anticipate the manipulation off of the news. So with everything that we're seeing, obviously nothing's going to change. If you didn't see what the US dollar did today, we finally broke that redistribution area, that area of supply that I wanted us to break. So I am going to start looking for some dollar strength. And of course, we've got the Kiwi, we've got the Australian dollar this week with some volatility, which is, from my end, I'm going to be looking at NU, AU, ACAD, and NCAD. And then of course, I'm also going to be looking from the aspect of the pound. I'm most definitely going to be targeting GU because I'm trying to short it. GU, EU, NU, and AU, I'm going to be shorting, waiting on UCAD for a minute. That is still on my watch list, but I'm going to be waiting just to see what it does if we do trade lower or not. But that's going to kind of round up fundamentally what I'm going to be looking at. And of course, if you haven't seen indices, I am just still bullish. I'm still buying them. Every day we're looking for just the continuation move. If you don't know this pattern, right here, then you really haven't done well with indices probably in the last, 2 months. But reaccumulation after reaccumulation after reaccumulation. And, do I get a trade every day on it? I do not. But what I don't do is I don't take losses on it, which is obviously what I'm looking for, right? I'm looking for capital preservation and then just increasing that equity curve. NCAD's been looking like it's rolling. Yeah, absolutely. There was an opportunity. I don't know if NCAD, I know ACAD, there was an opportunity this morning for shorts. But of course, now I'm just going to kind of sit on my hands and wait for what happens here. So we're going to see tonight, just play the continuation move, right? And I'll kind of go through how I'm looking at it, where I'm looking to kind of get that manipulation and how to work an entry in. But the one thing I can tell you about NCAD and ACAD is there is no buyers in the market. There is no bullishness coming out of it. It's just been kind of meandering its way along the last couple of weeks. If you don't try shorting, I'm guessing you're talking about the indices, then your chance of losing goes down drastically. Absolutely. For sure. Did I catch anything? No, I didn't catch anything today. No, we saw, I don't know if you were on this morning. I know a couple of people caught the buy on US 30 and we'll go through it. I was just waiting for reaccumulation. So there was an aggressive approach that you could have taken. Yeah, I waited, and I don't know if you saw the screenshot that on SPX. I took a little. I tried to take a little buy on it, but it missed. Broker didn't fill me, so no broker filled me on all four accounts. Didn't fill me, so it is what it is. But we'll go through it. I mean, it's Tuesday. If you looked at indices over the last like week, last Wednesday gave a really great entry for buys. I think Thursday was the only day we really didn't see anything. And then Friday, of course, Friday gave a really great entry. And then there was an entry yesterday. I'm in a buy from SPX yesterday that I will kind of go through and go over, but I'm not too heartfelt when, I miss an entry, especially if I'm holding, entries from previous days, just partial out, take your pay, your partials and move on with it. So let's give it a look. I'll kind of walk through one thing real quick. So I know somebody messaged me on YouTube about this. If you haven't seen, this is the position size calculator a lot of us use on our MT4, MT5. They have now come out with version 3.0. And most of us are still using like the 2 something. I think mine's like a 264 or something. I don't even know what it is. Hold on. I'll have to log in MT5, but mine's in the 2s. The one thing I will caution you is you could still use the old one, right? Definitely, if you have it, you could still use the old one. I've been using the old one. I'm on version 2.42. That's what I'm on. Just keep in mind this, and it says it very clearly in this that it is now where's it at? It is now a EA, okay? And how it's built in is it is as a expert advisor. If you're trading on certain brokers, specifically prop firms, there's some prop firms that do not allow EAs. Okay. Make sure if you're trading on TPT does allow EAs. If you're trading on FTMO allows EAs. I can't tell anybody else because I don't trade on any other prop firms. So look at your prop firm, look at the rules and see if it allows it. Otherwise, I would be very hesitant to update it. Right? Do not update to the EA if your prop firm doesn't allow it, because you can be in violation of terms of agreement. And yeah, that's going to suck if you lose your account because you tried using a position size calculator. Alrighty. But okay, so let's dive into it, right? Let's jump into what I am, kind of looking at for the week. I honestly, DR, I don't know, man. I'm going to have to look up. Because I haven't signed, I still have not got my credentials from them. So I haven't signed terms of agreement. I'm going to have to look it up and I'll let you know. It should be on their website though. I honestly, I just saw that maybe about an hour ago and I really haven't, other than that, a quick little message I sent on a Discord, I haven't seen anything on it. All right. So real quick, let's dive into it, right? As soon as TradingView stops with this madness of just running slow as crap. Hold on. There we go. All right. So, and this is what I was talking about, right? We were looking for price. We were looking for price to come into our area of demand. And I know I had an arrow here, man. I don't know if you guys have been noticing that TradingView just deletes a lot of your damn markings. It does. So anyway, I wanted to see. Yeah, bro, it is. And you know what's going to happen is next year they're going to raise their price again, like they did this past year, and it's crap. So it is what it is. Anyway, dollar index did come in, right? We did come into the area that I wanted us to come into this 50%. And then from there, what do? We took out the redistro, right? So we've taken out our first area of supply, and now it's just going to be a matter of being patient. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be waiting to see, mark out this entire move. This is the 50%. So anything down here gets me. Their website says EAs that take advantage of our liquidity pool or delays in MT4, MT5 are subject to individual review. You know what? I'll send them a message. I'll send them a message in the morning, and I'm just going to ask them. Really, the only time it's going to matter is obviously on a funded account, not on your challenge or your evaluation stage, because there's no rules when it comes to that crap. But yeah, I'll send them a message and I'll ask. I know, like, if essentially if that prop firm allows a bot, you're good. So I'm pretty sure, like, my Forex ones, MFF, I know they allow bots. I'm just trying to, I honestly I haven't looked at a lot of these other prop firms to see if they offer, if they allow it or not, but that's just something to keep your eye on. Anyway, so with dollar index, I'm looking for us to either do one of two things, right? I'm looking for obviously a pullback into our area that I want to buy from, or I just play the continuation move. So if price ends up making a new high out of this reaccumulation, then I'm going to come back for mitigation to take it higher. All right. That's the only two ways I'm going to be looking at this. Yeah, it does. Yeah. So I know it does, because I know a lot of people that run bots on MFF. So essentially, if that prop firm allows EAs or bots, then you're good to go with it. So pretty much this is what I'm looking for, right? I know then from EU and GU, AU and NU, I'm going to be looking for similar kind of price action, right? On the EU side, we had a little bit of divergence. And what I'm going to be looking for, what I'll be looking for is essentially this. So we did come in and we did break order flow, right? We did break order flow right in this wick right here. So what I was looking at is potentially to play something. I wanted us to first today sweep Asian liquidity, and I really wanted us to play into this. So that's why I have my alert up here. It just honestly didn't give me anything that I wanted to really play yet. So same kind of goes into what I want to play for the rest of the week. I either want one of two things. I either want us to trade up here into this price action, or I want us to either give us another shakeout. For all I care, I mean, we can do something like this, get that Frankfurt sweep, and then I want redistribution. So if we break this low, whatever the shakeout is up here, that's what I want to play into. So ideally, if I know I'm not going to be up tomorrow for London. So if at London we get, some kind of price action like this, just up in this area, and that ultimately provides a sweep during Frankfurt or London, I'd be interested in giving a small amount of risk to it, but I would then come back with some bigger risk if we confirm redistro, and then we come back to mitigate. Okay. So that's really how I would start to look and try to dive into some kind of potential entry on EU. And of course, if we don't do that, if we don't break the low and we continue higher, then all right, sounds great. This is where I want to play out of, right? I've got a type 1 distro in there. There's nothing I'm going to set a limit out of, but by all means, I mean, what I'll be looking for is I'll be looking for price to ultimately come back up into like this area right here. So anything in this area here gets me to look for shorts on a lower time frame to then take this down. Okay. So EU for me is pretty clean. Really the only thing that's going to drive EU fundamentally is going to be tomorrow's it's really just some retail sales news month over month. Nothing that's going to just be drastically fundamentally driven on the dollar index, right? It's not like it's CPI data, it's not inflationary or CPI data. It's not tied to any kind of jobs report, and it's not tied to any kind of interest rate hike. So, potentially we may just get a small little manipulation and then go from there. On the GU side, pretty much the same thing, right? GU hasn't created the new low, but like I talked about last week, as soon as this trading view clicks back in, man, wow. All right, there we go. So GU, right, just like we talked about last week, I wanted GU to come back and play into our manipulation. And we did, right? Ultimately, that's what we did end up seeing. We saw price come right back into our area of supply, which we did. We saw it break order flow, which it did, come back into the 80%, which we saw. And then there was some opportunity in here, right? I personally didn't take any entry out of it. Every entry I tried taking just kept missing me. So it is what it is. The bias was correct. The execution flawed. So what I now wanted to see was, and this is same thing like EU, I wanted to see some kind of manipulation this morning for a redistro. We failed to really get any kind of redistro. So there was no entry for me today. And what ultimately I'm going to be looking for is, you can see we haven't made the new low yet. So going off of just dollar strength, what I will be looking for is, I've got my alert up here, because if we do play into either this redistribution, all right, or if we play into the overall area, which is this is where I want to see us kind of play into. I have a pretty good suspicion that we're going to trade above these highs. We're going to especially trade above Asian liquidity here. And if that's the case, great, get some kind of manipulation. And, ultimately this alert will still be intact, because if we do break, and I can't find an entry out of somewhere up here, then I know that we've redistributed, and I'll play the mitigation of that manipulation. All right. And that's ultimately what I'll be looking for. Alrighty. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. And I can pretty much clean all this up. This was what we were looking at this morning. It just never gave us anything. So unfortunately, it is what it is. And again, I'll be looking for shorts once we come up into this area, right? This is ideally, I think, in my opinion, probably the area I want to look for. It gave a really nice redistribution, and it gave with news, it gave a Frankfurt manipulation. All right. Moving on with AU and NU. Pretty much the same concept, right? It's GU, EU, AU, NU. They're all so with these, right? With these, essentially, it's all the same thing. Yeah, there we go. Let me get out here to zoom out. So it's pretty much all being driven by the dollar, right? I am looking to see. So from a leg perspective, this distribution creates the low, right? So coming in, this is the area that I was really kind of focusing and seeing if we can play into, which we did, right? We came into that area. I like it. We distributed, and we look on, there we go. And we look at it and we distributed. Okay. We did get a distribution. And ultimately, what I was looking at today, same thing. I mean, just like GU, EU, I was looking for manipulation to the upside, a break of the low, play it down, redistro, right? And ultimately, that's still on the table, right? Going into tonight's news with NZD, we know it's going to affect the Australian dollar as well. And I don't know why that box is there. What I want to see is, I just want to see manipulation. So there's really one thing that gets me into a really nice short on AU going into tomorrow morning. It's tonight's news goes ahead. We sweep out liquidity, right? Short, that changing of hands from weak hands to strong hands, right? Take anybody out of those weak-handed seller positions. And then we get some kind of distribution above these highs to then break, right? That's what I want to see. And then I'll play the mitigation of that manipulation that we create. That's really what's going to get me to continue to short this off. I'm not really interested. Well, one, I'm not holding any shorts on AU, so I'm not interested in any kind of hedge. I know we are coming into an area where buyers came into this market, right? We know that buyers came in here. We know buyers came in here. We definitely know buyers came into the reaccumulation. So that's something potentially we can see. I'm more interested in playing the continuation move. If I do get that, obviously targets are going to be to take out these lows, and then ultimately the new low on AU down here. All right. But overall, this market is still very bearish. I mean, just zoom out, get out to like a 1 hour, a 4 hour, and you're going to see that this market is tremendously still bearish. Nothing has happened. In all of this market cycle of accumulation, this market cycle of reaccumulation has just done what? Just come and taken us right back into our leg structure. All right. Sellers from here are still in control. This is where supply is still very much in control. So I do like the attempt. I'll play the continuation plays, and we'll see. We'll go from there. How do you, let's see, how do you identify the exchange from weak to strong hands? Just ask yourself the manipulation. Remember that strong-handed buyers and sellers, typically your larger funds and institutions aren't running with stop losses, right? They can withstand the drawdown. So, it's your smaller institutions, your smaller funds that are going to be essentially putting stops in place, putting, opposite orders in there and hedges. So that's pretty much what you want to see. Anytime you can see a violent action or manipulation, that's your confirmation, so yeah, absolutely. All right. So that's AU, and then NU is the same exact thing, right? NU from a larger perspective, right? We are still, let's see, let's wait for this to catch up. Man, this is horrible. Anyway, so we're here, right? This is our leg. And like I said, I mean, we have come into the point of interest that I want to see, and we've distributed. So I'm going to be looking to play a continuation move, right? I'll be looking for continuation moves on it, just like on AU. I think AU is definitely cleaner for the redistribution, but if we get something here, and this is what I mean. So you look at the price action here on NU, right? Just it honestly looks like garbage, right? Not something I really want to play with. Could we still get some kind of manipulation, distribute here to break, causing us a new redistro? Absolutely. And then I'll just play the mitigation of that. Okay. I prefer to see AU though. I think AU is definitely a cleaner accumulation. And when we look at this for an accumulation, it's in no man's land. It's not in an area where, I would ultimately start to look and ask myself, if they're going to accumulate, they should be accumulating down out of here, right? These are where the buy orders, and this is where the buy orders came in. So, but I do like AU. I think it shapes up a little cleaner. If I can get that manipulation, that's where I'll be looking to short it from. All right. I was talking about UCAD. And larger, I'm still holding UCAD buys, right? So larger picture here, I'm ultimately still, oh, come on, TradingView, man. All right, there we go. I'm still holding my buys from down here. All right, there we go. I'm still holding my buys from down here. And much like I've been talking about for the last, like, say, 2-3 weeks, I'm very hesitant about trying to buy UCAD until we get into an area of demand, right? I'm very interested. You can see my alert sitting right down here. This is where I'm really just waiting for us to do something. You could see the most recent redistribution right here. This was an area that I was kind of contemplating looking for shorts out of. I just never got anything out of it. It never gave a manipulation, never gave a UTAD for me to break and kind of take the short on. But it also hasn't broken the high, and in order for me to start looking for buys on UCAD, we either need to come here and I would play something out of this, or we need to now focus on what's happening at current price. And what's happening at current price is this. We need this to break. This is the redistro. We need this to break and do something like that. And that's what I was really hoping we were going to get today, was a reaccumulation. If this ends up being a reaccumulation that causes this break, this becomes my number one point of interest to come back, or this accumulation, which is now the new order flow leg, right? That's ultimately how I'll look at this. All right. But until that happens, it's just wait and see. There really wasn't any strength. I started looking this morning during New York session. We had a little bit of an opportunity. Oh man, this is getting worse. It's like getting worse by the minute with TradingView. There we go. So, I mean, we could kind of see what was happening here. We had a distribution. Again, no manipulation, right? We didn't get any kind of UTAD or anything like that. And then once we swept Asian liquidity, coming into New York market here, I really was anticipating, all right, maybe we get a break and then we take this up. That's kind of what I was waiting on. But we never got real big evidence. Nothing to really do anything. I was even looking, trying to take something out of a reaccumulation, but we just never got confirmation. We never really got any true breaks and any kind of reason or any kind of indication of strength or buyers coming into this market. So, I mean, could it still happen? It can. I mean, we have a valid active distribution, and at any point, can we do this and break? Yes. And at that point, we now have a valid reaccumulation that I would look for mitigation to take higher. All right. Nothing about UCAD. And, like when I look back at, last week, I went on vacation. Did I miss anything while I was gone? No, I didn't. There was really nothing that I missed out on. I haven't missed out on any of the big buys. There really wasn't any reason for me to take any buys out of here, quite, honestly. So it is what it is. I'm still very much waiting for price to either reaccumulate or we need to come down to here. Right. So that's how I'm going to be targeting UCAD, and then would I have played that accumulation to confirm the reaccumulation? Which one are you talking about? You talking about the one down in here? Yeah. If we would have gotten the accumulation, yeah, we were looking at it this morning. So where was I at? Hold on. So when we were here, yeah, I was most definitely waiting for it. I had the alert up there. Had we broken, so I want to say our alert was here, right? Yeah, it was. So our alert was here just because of this break. So if price would have done that, I would have broken. I would have broken here and definitely have taken it if we would have confirmed this. So, and of course, if we would have just taken off without the mitigation, I'd put more risk into the buy out of it. So I would have reduced my risk into the entry just based off of this accumulation, because it's an aggressive play. I'm trying to play an accumulation where I need to wait for the reaccumulation. So 128,620, 128,620. So 128,620. Hold on. So in here, where's your accumulation though? You got clapped. 128,620. Yeah, but where does your, you only got a type 4, man. Yeah. Play it out of here. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, but still, what's your play? So if we're looking at it, I guess this all depends upon what your rules are, right? So for me, this would not have been, well, let me see. Hold on. Let me see how I would have looked at it. I would have looked at it as, damn, trading view, man. Wow. All right. So where, I mean, we know we have a type 4, right? So we know we have a type 4, and for me to play a type 4, I need to exit our trading range. So where's our first change of character? And I would probably say that this is my first change of character. So we don't break and we don't create a sign of strength for me on the type 4. So that immediately would kind of dispel me trying to take it. Now, could I say that this is my climax to my rally, to my test in B, and then this being my spring? Could I do that? All right. Yeah. I mean, we could sell it on that. That's how you looked at it. Okay. So we could sell it on that. So did you have a volume candle, or you just measure the whole thing? Did you do it like this? So if we're looking at it like that, just the spring. Gotcha. Okay. So if we're looking at it like that, what do we have? We have, all right. So we don't have any divergence here. Did you happen to look at Canadian futures while you were looking at this to see if there's divergence on Canadian futures? I'm just going through my list of like all the confirmations I'd want to see to take this. Let me see. Yeah, we got a little bit of divergence on the 5 minute. We don't have it on the 1 though. And the 1 is where the schematic's on. Do we have it on the 15 or the 30-second? Let me see. No. Okay. Well, we'll compare it over to futures. Yeah, I mean, we look at this. So you don't have any divergence. You're actually, so no divergence. All right. And with this, I'd be anticipating that we get a shakeout. I'd be anticipating that we get a shakeout to tag it in to go higher, right? So let me just see let me see. I know this morning we were looking at CJ with it too for Confluence, but I want to go over to Canadian futures and let's just go 1 minute. All right, so here's Canadian futures. All right, so this was the same play right here. Right here on Canadian futures. Okay, so Canadian futures have divergence. No, it did not. All right, so no divergence on Canadian futures. And let's play this out. Hold on. Yeah, I mean, it didn't give anything. I'll tell you this. For me, one of the main things that disqualifies this setup is the time. Notice, pay attention to this, right? Pay attention to your volume of your candles in here in the blue box. Pay attention to the volume of the candles in the white. So, yeah, I honestly, I probably would have. Did we trade above it? Hold on, let me see. Do we trade above it? Yeah, we do trade above it on futures. I think we do it up here as well. Yeah, we do. I mean, this right here, once we reaccumulate right here, this kind of immediately would deter me from, I would want this right here. I wouldn't want this to come in because I want my shakeout to activate it. And then I want to kind of play it like this. So, I mean, I'll tell you this, if you told yourself from a risk perspective that you were going to throw lower risk than you normally do into this, all right, I could see the play. If you told yourself, yeah, I threw my normal risk into it, I'd say go back and back test this and maybe reassess your risk parameter to it. So that's what I would do. Normally type 4, we need to exit the trading range. So for me, I do. Yeah. For me, for a type 4, if I can't validate it as a type 1, it needs to exit the trading range. That's just something from my back testing that I've made a rule for myself to make sure I'm not taking needless losses. So if reaccumulation without going to the 50 or 80 does that still count as mitigation of the leg, or those areas still valid if they come back down? So if it reaccumulates without going to 50 or the 80. No. So if you think of it like this, reaccumulations and redistros are continuation plays, right? The way I look at a reaccumulation or redistro is that they are solely based on one thing. They're used, or their implementation and intent is to fill at a premium or discounted more pricing. Mitigation is not an objective for reaccumulation or redistro. So, and what I mean by that is, like, if let's just say that price accumulates here, okay, and then we reaccumulate, and then we reaccumulate this. Now, let's say that we walk this down here. When we break this high, right, these reaccumulations were designed just to get price to continue and make a new leg, right? A new leg up to the distro. At this point now is where they can come back into mitigate and then proceed to do the whole market cycle back over. All right. So for me, I always talk about continuation play is just that continuation play, right? It's not designed for mitigation. If you can get a mitigation, great, right? That's really the only way I get into continuation plays is based off of mitigations. So what's the difference between a type 1 and a type 4? It's just the pattern. Type 4 is a descending or ascending wedge, and a type 1 is not. So, yeah. So if price breaks a reaccumulation, does that make you hesitant to take the accumulation at the bottom? That in order for me to take that accumulation at the bottom, that accumulation needs to hold the leg now. So if for me, let's say we have a distro here, right? That distro comes down, we accumulate, right? And then we do something like this, right? This is done for me. This is done. And I'm now playing out of here, something like this until we break this high. And then I would put this order back in because now we have a new leg here. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, on UCAD, I mean, that's the only kind of like analysis I tell you is, I mean, I see the play. Could you have, for me, I didn't take it obviously because, one, I didn't see I didn't see the evidence of buyers really in the market yet. I wanted to see this once we collapsed off of this, it was a matter of just be patient and wait now. And I'll play a continuation move on it. So, all right, on CJ, right? On CJ, we were kind of toying with it. This wasn't a high on my list, but it was something somebody else brought up. So I was looking at it and come on. All right, there we go. So, CJ's in one of those areas where we have evidence of eventually when TradingView opens up, sellers here, there we go, and sellers here. And that, wow, man, geez, this is horrible. And that created a break of order flow. So, what I was really kind of anticipating was evidence of some kind of sells coming in. We didn't get it. We actually got evidence of buys coming in. So, there really wasn't, and ultimately what it ends up doing is just giving another shakeout. So after this break, I mean, this is a reaccumulation. There's nothing really that's telling me to sell this market. Most of my yen crosses are still in the secondary list because we're in no man's land with them. Right. Yeah, I know some of these guys caught it this morning. They were probably up like a 1 to 8. So I'm hoping they paid themselves the risk off of 1 to 8 and, eventually just hit break even on it. But, like look at the price action we have going into the end of New York session, it's just crap. And then we have this. So for CJ, I mean, this is probably just going to get demoted back to my secondary list because of where we're at, unless London market, I wake up tomorrow morning and London really gives us evidence of sellers in this market. I'm not going to be too interested in it. I would need to see some evidence, true evidence of sellers pushing this market with some kind of manipulation and then a break to then short this down to make a new low. So until I see that evidence, it's probably just going to sit here and sit on the sidelines. All right. So on NCAD, yeah, for sure. NCAD is turning a new leaf, and much like I said, I know I said this to a couple of people last week. I was anticipating this to be just a larger distribution. We are perfectly in the area that I wanted to see us come into. This was the area of order flow that held supply. And then when we come in here for the love, there we go. So when we come in here, we do have a distro. All right. We do have a distribution. Again, you can kind of see my thought process. I was kind of hoping that we can, when we were here this morning, I was really hoping that we can come up, sweep out some Asian liquidity, give me a nice, clean, tight entry out of here to short this off. Really didn't give it. I know ACAD, ACAD was definitely the cleaner play this morning. And with news coming out tonight, what do I want to see? I just want to see this accumulation turn into a redistro. So we have an accumulation, give some kind of manipulation to the upside, wait for the break, confirms redistro, play the mitigation of it. That's pretty much. I mean, it's not very difficult. That's really what I'm going to be waiting for. So we have an accumulation coming out of New York into Asian. Give us some kind of manipulation. Take out weak-handed sellers. Maybe we'll be fortunate, and you'll get some kind of Asian price action at the end of it with a Frankfurt manipulation that you could try to do something like this to short, come back and mitigate, and then continue lower with it. That's really what I'm going to be looking for on NCAD. And like I said, they really didn't give too much to play out of here. I mean, you do have a redistro with a manipulation here, but it just wasn't clean. I mean, there wasn't nothing I was really going to set a limit on NCAD, especially, with the 2-pip spread. So ACAD was the play. ACAD. Wow, this is getting bad. Can you share your chart settings? The color? Yeah, I don't know where the heck the settings would be. Hold on. Where's the settings? My chart colors. Let's see. Settings, maybe? There we go. Where is it at? There you go. It's pretty simple, man. It's black and white. That's all it is. Black and white. And then, yeah, I mean, I've got solid white background. That's it. Yeah. I'm crazy because I use black candles for the up candles. Yeah, I go against the grain, man. I know a lot of other people use the white candles. It honestly, I'll tell you what, the candles themselves mean nothing to me. I mean, if you notice, like I use gray, I use like a little gray in there with a black outline for the down candles. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen my volume indicator. It's all black. I could care less of buys and sells. It really doesn't matter the buy and sell candle. I care about volume coming into it. So there we go. You're starting to think that this yen carry trade may be kaput. This yen carry trade. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this. I am not bearish on yen crosses at all. Right. I am bullish on them. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for them to either come. I was waiting for them to come lower into my point of interest where I wanted to buy. I know AJ came very close to it. And at this point, I mean, I have my alerts up on all my yen crosses up here because as soon as we make new highs, I'm ready to get back in the game on it. You've only been buying AJ? Okay, yeah, cool. So wait, what are you looking to do then? Yeah, so what do you? I guess by the way you were looking at shorts here in here, I thought you were shorting it. So yeah, no, if you're buying it, then you're set up with it. Yeah, absolutely. No, there's listen, I mean, and this is just me speaking, right? If you look at UJ, right? If you look at UJ, you know what the yen is doing, right? Because the yen is the complete opposite of what this bad boy is doing. Equities would roll over the same time, not necessarily, right? The only time that you'd see equities roll over is if money is being thrown into the yen, right? And you'd have to see that evident on UJ, right? So that's really where the correlation would be. Until, and if you look at UJ, right, until we break really this here, I'm not yeah, okay, I got you. Yeah, until we break this, yeah, I mean, we're still massively bullish. And even if we get UJ coming down here, this is really where I wanted to buy from, and if it ends up not being the case, I'll play the reaccumulation, right? Playing it like this to take it higher. So you look at all these yen crosses and where nothing has changed. I mean, perfect example. You look at NJ. Now, do I feel like I still remember this damn buy right here, man. This thing was freaking ridiculous. If you look at NJ, like what have you missed in the last 74 days? Nothing, right? But when we look at what is really happening here, I mean, there's a tremendous amount of manipulation going on. And I feel like you could see my alerts. My alerts are just standing up here. As soon as we get that, I'm coming back in to play out of, if this is the one that causes that break, I'm coming back to play it. So, you think my internet's getting heavy lag with Zoom, YouTube, and TradingView? I don't think so, man. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, because what's the excuse when I don't have Zoom or YouTube on, and the only thing I have on is TradingView? So, and it's not like, I'll tell you what, like it doesn't lag when I'm watching movies, you know. So yeah, it's Kevin. Stop being on Team TradingView, man. Stop sticking up for them. They're garbage. Yeah, you sound like their customer support person that I keep complaining to. Yeah, I guarantee you it's like talking to a 5-year-old, man. Anyway, so let's get back over to ACAD. All right, so on ACAD, right, much like NCAD, we're looking for the short. We had a really good distribution in here, and just following it along, right? Like what do we see? We see a redistribution that occurs here, right? We see another redistribution. The only problem with it, there's no manipulation. You can see I had my alert up here because I really wanted to play into here. But this morning you get a super clean redistro that came in right at New York Open. So you had New York price action. So this is 8 a.m. is New York Open. And what do we see, right? We see price accumulate, reaccumulate, and then you get your distribution, right? So as soon as price breaks that distribution, coming back into the 80%, right? We get a micro, and that's what it looks like on the 1 minute, right? You have support tickets with them too, dude. It's garbage, man. It is garbage. I'll tell you, if I was, maybe I'll do that in my spare time. Maybe I'll learn to like write a computer program, and I'll try to create some kind of trading platform with servers. I don't know. I'll do something. Maybe that'll be my new hobby. You always talk to James on TV support. Wow. At that point, I'll tell you what, Kevin, I would double up on it. I just keep sending, this is what I would do, because I know how to create bots now. I would create a bot that sends an email every 5 minutes with the same copy and paste. That's what I would do. Just to piss them off. So anyway, yeah, so we ultimately on, I don't know what the R to R would be on it right now, but this is pretty much this was the play right here. And like I said, this was your confirmation. If you were able to snag that right at open, that was key. So price coming in, you have a really clean distro coming in. And like I said, as soon as if this is your trading range, right, you get your climax to your rally to your test, you get an up thrust. That up thrust does come to 50%, which is my confirmation or validation. And then you get your UTAD. So after the break here, this comes back in. This is the 80% of it, comes back close to it, but you get a distro. So that would have been the entry. For me, that was really the best entry that you could grab. I mean, what was that? That would have been like a 2 pip stop, and price is at what, 90.19. So, I mean, even just taking it to the new low, you're at almost a 1 to 10. So, that would have been something to play. And then where I was looking was mitigation of that, right? So I was looking, as soon as we made that low, we come into 50% of the redistro, because that's what this is, right? Accumulation into a distro break. So we come into 50% of it. It does snag it, and we do distribute out of it and make a new low. This is where I was looking for another entry out of it. right? And this is what I wanted. This entry here, not so much. This is something I was looking at, but it didn't meet my R to R. This was only like a 1 to 4, which is garbage. But I was interested in taking the 80, but we clearly don't come into it. We just make a new low from it. So unfortunately, it is what it is. What am I looking for? Continuation on this? Yeah, I'm looking. You could see, what do we have? We have an accumulation. We have news coming out tonight in like 2 hours. So play the continuation move, right? Expect some kind of manipulation. And after that manipulation breaks and creates the redistro, play the mitigation of it. That's pretty much what I'll be looking for, right? Yeah, I'll show you how to do the bot. It's pretty simple. I Googled it on YouTube, how to create a bot. That was it. You know, and there's plenty of like free Telegram like services and stuff that you can use to create the bot. So yeah. Yeah, no worries. So that's pretty much what I'm looking for on ACAD. And I mean, can we trade higher into the distro? We can. You know, I mean, we've technically, once we broke here, you know, if you think about it, this is what is maintaining our leg. So, you know, I've got an alert up here because if we do trade up into this area up here, this is something that I'll be paying attention to as well. I just don't know if we're going to get all the way up there. I think honestly, we're just going to get some kind of manipulation to the upside and then break and then play a mitigation to take it lower. That's what I'll be waiting for. And obviously we're going to potentially know very quickly in the next 2 hours. So I'd be looking for an entry during crossover in New York session tomorrow morning is what I'm going to be looking for. So that's pretty much ACAD, right? Currency wise, that's everything I'm looking at. From indices now, listen, these bad boys have been, I mean, just reaccumulation after reaccumulation after reaccumulation. I would definitely go back and, you know, there was some really good opportunities out of, let me go over to equities. So I would definitely go back and back test. If you want some good back tests, I would definitely go back and back test this right here, that play right there. Super clean. You know, if you think about this being the reaccumulation, we break, NFP gives another reaccumulation. That is your shakeout, right? And then you just measure out your manipulation and she comes right into the 80%. So out of that 80%, again, go through, back test it. I'll give you a little glimpse of it, but kind of just ask yourself a couple of questions like who's driving the market, what are they doing? You know, I will say this, if as soon as it gets to it, geez, for the love. So if you look at it and just ask yourself, what happened here? What happened here? What happened here? And if you've counted this out, you'll know that this is our fourth drive. And in our fourth drive, what happened here? Right there. And then I'm guarantee if you look in there pretty closely, you'll see that in the fourth drive of our fourth drive, you'll see a pretty nice type 1 that I guarantee you will never guess what it tapped into. So, and of course, what do we see? We see a reaccumulation with the typical Asian liquidity, Frankfurt open right in there. So I'm not in this trade. I actually didn't get into this trade. We back tested it and it was one of those that goes into my missed trade folder and I kick myself for not being in it. But it would be at a, to today's high, it was at a 1 to 282. So from the 10th, so we're talking 6 days on 1 to 282 on it, but just continue following this bad boy up. You know, what did indices do after that? This was Tuesday's entry. I didn't catch this one, but I did catch Wednesday's entry. There were some really, really good plays that you can back test and look and just ask yourself, like, what did you miss? Why didn't you get into them? So there was a really good opportunity here on SPX and the same price action on the 13th. NASDAQ is the one that I caught, which was NASDAQ was super clean out of here. really, really good play. And then Fridays, same thing, right? Friday gave an entry right out of here that I'm still holding. Really, really good play. Back test that one. And then today, I mean, just look at what we did. We definitely gave a potential distribution with zero signs of sellers in this market. We gave a shakeout in my blue box, which I wanted to see. And then what do? We confirmed reaccumulation. So coming into tomorrow, I bet, if you're a betting person, I bet you can't guess what potentially I'll be looking for on indices. It's just another reaccumulation, right? Let it give you the evidence of a manipulation, right? Let it give you a shakeout of some sort, and go from there. It's pretty simple. Whether or not we come in, shake out, play into here, and then go higher. All right, guess what? We just reaccumulated, keep playing it up. If you caught this entry, look for mitigation and play the next one. My goal with indices is to keep playing the continuation move until price says no, right? Until price finally tells me, nope, you're done. I'm going to keep buying it. I'm going to keep playing the continuation move. I can tell you that the last time that price pretty much stopped us out in anything was here, and that was July 14th, a month ago. And even after that, we were able to get back in. So, keep playing the continuation move until it says no. On US 30, same thing. I haven't really caught a lot of US 30 plays. Most of US 30 has either just been lagging behind. NASDAQ and SPX have really been where we've been looking to target. Coming back in, US 30 gave a pretty clean play out of here, out of the 80% that, really gave an entry. I'm still holding a small order. We talked about it at the beginning of the month out of here, but just look at the plays. I mean, look at the continuation move, right? You could see I was kind of hoping that we would get up in here and come back to mitigate. We did not see that. This morning, I know a couple of people, what they did grab, and you can kind of see like my thought process with this. What I was looking at this morning was come on back down, right? Come on back down into here. We didn't get it. What we did get was continuation play, right? You can see, I mean, price just reaccumulates. And this was the play right here. So price comes in, you have your accumulation shakeout that sweeps out weak-handed buyers, creates the new high. The only issue is it comes into 50%, which is not something I wanted to take. If it came into the 80%, this is where I get involved. Right. The 50% was just too big of a stop. I think it was like 18 points, and the risk to reward just wasn't there for me. So, what does price do? Price ends up giving us another reaccumulation. I even thought about potentially waiting to see if we can come back in. You can see my alert, come back in here and give me some kind of price action to take it up. But, at some point, you just got to let price walk away from itself, and, you come back tomorrow. So this ends up just skyrocketing up. And what we get here is ultimately what we just get profit taken, right? This to me at, coming into power hour is just evidence of just profit taking. So what I'll be looking for on all indices is just continuation move, reaccumulation, right? Let price build exactly what you see here on all of these, and just wait for your shakeout, manipulate, play the mitigation, yeah, this irritated me right here because we were waiting for it. We wanted price right in here this morning. She came in perfectly. I'll tell you right now, there was, I know a couple of guys saw it. There was a really lower time frame accumulation in here. There's no way I'm taking that. Not on the first drive. So still expecting new lows on indices. What do you mean, from higher time frame? Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, just look where we're at, right? I mean, you come over to, we look over like at US 30, right? I mean, I'm still the two areas that I'm really going to be focusing on some shorts, right? Is going to be right here. So this distribution, specifically this move, is where I'm waiting. What do? We took out the order flow. Right. We took out the order flow here, and, we took out the slingshot, which had some, liquidity sitting here. Great. So let me get something up here. And the reason why is if we look at it, so when we confirm the distro, right, this distribution ends up coming back to mitigate our slingshot that causes the break. And then this causes that break. So this for me is maintaining our market cycle. So this is where I'm waiting right here. And we still have, this morning when I looked at it, we had about 780 points. Or for you crazy guys that like to do the pips on that, 7,800 pips, is what we have. So we got maybe about another 2 days. I don't see anything fundamentally on the horizon that's really going to give us any kind of jolt, but I still got to respect it, right? I still got to look to see what we're doing on it. And I've already hedged myself in, I'm holding buys from all over the place in here, just taking this up. And as soon as we see evidence of sellers coming in, that's where I'm going to start flipping the switch on it. So any break above this order flow high, would you end your new low thesis? So I'll tell you this, I won't. Could we potentially break above this order flow? Yeah. I mean, what would cause me to say, long-term buys? Like what's going to get me to move my personal funds that I have like in mutual funds and stuff back into some of these indice ETFs? I want reaccumulation. So for me, what does reaccumulation look like? Reaccumulation is two-pronged test for me, right? It is a jump across the creek and it's a new high. So could we potentially see something like this to come back and mitigate? Yeah. So when we come back to mitigate is when I'll start averaging in on my mutual funds. So, we have, I think, where's NASDAQ at? I think NASDAQ is probably going to be the closest. Let's see. Oh, no. NASDAQ's got a ways to go still. Yeah. So, I mean, the first thing I got to look at is like, where did we buy up from? And it makes, we're not in an area where I feel like this buy is true, So it's kind of like crypto, like where BTC is accumulating from. I still feel like we can come lower. And for me, this is still what I have on the table here. 27 to 28K is where I was looking. So I do feel like we can come in here and distribute. If we do trade above it, I'll reevaluate it. I'm gonna trade what I see, and like I said, I've hedged in on the buys, so I'm happy with the positions I have. The shorts that I'm holding from up here, because I think in here is where I got my shorts in. I've definitely profited out tremendously on it, especially once I got into the hedges. So we'll see what happens with it. But yeah, indices, that's, I'm short term, I'm still playing buys until we see evidence of sellers in this market. And we're not seeing any kind of distribution created by sellers. The distributions are, especially if you look at the price action, the distributions are bullish in nature. They are giving reactions that do not support a seller's intent. So just keep playing the reaccumulation. So that's what I've got on indices, right? I'm going to continue to look for the buys. And then lastly, so I'll talk about, I know someone asked me about crypto. I'll give you my input on BTC. Can I go through the Matic chart? I can. I mean, just keep cost dollar averaging on Matic, man. Just keep buying it. Matic, I've talked about it. Matic, Flux, Cadena, and Ergo are my big four that I'm really just going in big on. So, but I'll take a look at it. Thoughts on gold, bro? I have no idea what the hell gold's doing. I'm still waiting for it to come down to the 1500s, man. So I couldn't tell you. I mean, gold to me is like looking at my 7-year-old daughter try to like connect the dot on with a blindfold on. I mean, it's all over the place. I mean, we can look at it real quick. I mean, maybe you've got a chart that you'll show me that what your thought process is. All right, so BTC, where am I? What do we see on BTC? So BTC came into this old area back in here, right? We did tap into the 80% of it, but let's focus on what's happening like right now. I mean, I'm bullish short term on this until we get up into our next supply area. So if we let's go 30-minute. There we go. So this was the redistribution that we broke here. And when we broke it, we're definitely seeing evidence of some buy orders coming into the market. That causes the break, and then it's just reaccumulation after reaccumulation, right? So you could follow the green dots and new high. You know, I was looking to see can we come into that 50% or 80%, right? Well, we come into 50 and we accumulate. So if we are paying attention to lower time frame here, so I mean, we definitely have an accumulation of order. Look at the reaction we're getting from orders getting filled on the buy side, right? I mean, super clean. We get the break. I was really hoping us come back into this area is where I'm watching. So this is an active distribution. You know, this is, I'd be looking around, you know, like I said, I'd be looking around the upper 22s to like 23,200 area here to see if we can get more buyers in the market to take this up. That's ultimately what I'm looking at. I am, like I said, I am short-term bearish. I'm sorry, bullish until we get, there we go, until we get up into this area right up here. This is the area for me that I want to see when we get up into like the 4,200 area. This is for me going to be important. I want to see what happens because this is where our last sellers came in. This is the cause of that break. So this is going to be the area that BTC kind of tells me make it or break it. So I'm ultimately still looking for some kind of reaction. Like I said, I'm short-term or bullish. Keep in mind, from market cap perspective and fundamentally, you know, everybody should be keeping their eyes up on what's going on with the merge. Where the heck is my little thing? There we go. You know, we're running into, you know, we're in the last month of Ethereum proof of work. So merge is set right now based on the difficulty bomb countdown. We're at 27 days, 2 hours, 45 minutes for the alleged mainnet merge for proof of stake on Ethereum. So, you know, if it all goes well, we're going to see some appreciation in crypto. If you haven't been watching, you know, the devs do their dev calls that you can watch, and they're on YouTube as well. You know, you got to read between the lines. There's a lot of BS that goes on in it. But if everything goes well, you're going to see a very good appreciation in the crypto markets, I feel. And if we have some significant issues, I think that's going to be obviously detrimental to what happens. So Ethereum's the number 2 market cap. It is, if you think about it from a proof of work standpoint, it is the largest. I mean, it blows BTC out of the water when it comes to proof of work payouts. So dollar for dollar. So it's going to have a very important impact on the crypto markets. Would need to a big further rally on indices, I feel, for BTC to get there. Yeah, I mean, it could be. You know, listen, I mean, don't get me wrong. We're very much in a recession. You know, inflation is killing us. You know, I think everything happens in a cycle. So I'm honestly, preparing, or I've prepared myself for the next year, 2 years, that crypto is going to be just lagging around in this bearish market until we get some kind of real continuation place to the upside. So like, I'm not expecting any kind of big returns. I'm positioning myself in for the next 5 years. That's why, you know, for me on the crypto side, I am very, very much, you know, invested. Flux is my biggest thing that I'm invested in, you know, and, you know, going into like Matic's another one that I've just been really, really getting into. Where are we at here? So, I mean, we came in on the Matic chart. I mean, just look where we came into. You know, we came into the original reaccumulation that caused our last bull run. And from now, when we came into that area, there was a really clean accumulation. We're seeing just evidence of buys. from my last buy, which was back in June, it's sitting, I don't know, maybe like 170%, something like that from, what is it? Let's see. Yeah, 175% is what she's sitting at. So, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely cost dollar averaging into Matic. I'm not, I mean, I like the Polygon network. There's really no issues. It's not like Solana where, roll the dice to see if it's going to be up or down. It's not, it doesn't have now granted, it doesn't have the amount of blockchain transactions like some of these others, but it's also not Tron, right? So I like Matic. Like I said, I like, Flux is another one that back last summer when Flux was down here is where we got in, around like I think it was like 7-8 cents. If you haven't seen what Flux has been doing, we saw almost a little over a $3 all-time high. Flux came back into the area that I wanted to see, and we've seen just a massive amount of accumulation. So we're starting to see some really good pumps on Flux, and I just want this to continue riding it out. Again, I'm running a bunch of nodes. I've got mining it. My goal is to really, position myself into when Flux gets into, the $15-$20 mark and then beyond. So, and I do think that's a possibility, especially when you look at market cap. The market cap on Flux is so small compared to what some of these other ones are. Flux just broke the 100. Actually, I think they did, right? I know they were there momentarily. They broke the 100 mark on. Oh, Kusama. Oh, maybe they're not yet. Maybe they're still at like 103. They did break for a very short time, but they're not even the top 100 market cap. And so for me, this is something it's 163 right now, which doesn't make sense because I know that we were a little higher. So, but if you think about it, a lot of their circulating supply is locked up into staking into running nodes, which is great. So Flux is one, Cadena is the other one, right? Cadena for me is a big one. They've partnered with Flux. I like where it's at, and if we can get back to where we were in November at the all-time high, right? I mean, just look where it was. I was at like $26 at the all-time high. So from where I got in, I mean, we're talking almost a 1,800% increase. So I'm just cost dollar averaging in every week, every month. I'm just throwing some money into Cadena. I buy it and, buy it on Qcoin, throw it over to my Zelcore wallet. I'm also mining it because I have a Cadena miner, and because I run a Flux node, I get Cadena rewards as well. So, the next halving, the next halving is when we're going to see our next bull run. So absolutely. If you just look at all the halving cycles, that's when the bull runs start. So, and then the last one that I would say, definitely do your research, look at Ergo. Ergo for me is something that I'm very, very bullish on. I mine a lot of it. All-time highs back in September were almost $20 a coin. We're sitting at $3.30. So I do like Ergo. Like I said, I'm mining it. For me, it's a really good project. I think they've got a lot of, their development team is very transparent, and they're very, very good at the blockchain that they're developing, the projects that are going on with it. So do your research on it, take a look at it. That's pretty much what I'm looking at. Gold here. We'll take a look at gold real quick. So gold, what the heck is going on with gold? What the heck is going on with gold? So I still think we're coming down here. Where I did a video. Watch on my YouTube channel, man. Yeah, I did a video on how to claim it from the airdrop. The only thing you need to do is make sure you just send, I think it's like 5 cents worth of AVAX to your Zelcore wallet. It was like 0.004 AVAX is what you need to pay the fee you don't need to pay the fee to claim the airdrop. You just need to pay the fee to transfer it from Flux Avalanche to just straight Flux. So, but yeah, I did a video on it. It's 2 a.m. here. Got to go to sleep, but yeah, you got it, man. Have a good one, bro. So gold, what the heck is gold doing? Hold on. Do I have a cleaner chart somewhere? What is gold doing? All right, let's look at this one. So what is gold doing? Gold is, man, I mean, I'm still bearish on it. I'd be looking for shorts. I'd be looking for shorts out of here. This was definitely an area. I mean, I'd be looking at that area there. What are we seeing? What do we trade into? So in the last week, all right. I mean, we're seeing distribution. I mean, I agree with the shorts. I don't know what the heck this is, but let's see. Yeah, I agree with the shorts. We're an active distro. I'm guessing this is, yeah, this was news 8:30 in the morning. I honestly just don't know what I want to trade, bro. Yeah, there's nothing I want to trade though. This is end of New York without any clear. I mean, I know there's a distro in there. I know there's a distro there, but I guess my question would be, what's going to get us up there? Obviously, I got something here. I don't know what the hell that tapped into. Tapped into something. No, it was way over there, so it's nothing. What do we play into? Let's see. What do we play into? Huh. Imagine that. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? All right. Well, now you think meeting minutes? What meeting minutes for FOMC tomorrow? No, that's not going to get us up there, man. Yeah, that ain't going to get us up there. Talking about this right here? That ain't going to get us up there. All that is they just released the minutes from their last closed door meeting. That's it. I don't see Thursday will. I don't know about Thursday. What do you mean Thursday will? No, Thursday won't. Yeah. I don't even know who that guy is. I think he's like the governor of the San Francisco Bank. Hold on, let me see. I mean, just look back at what some of these. Oh, Kansas City. He's the Kansas, even worse, Kansas City Bank. My bad if you live in Missouri, but it is what it is. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get. I don't think we're gonna get that move from meeting minutes. Yeah, I don't think it gets up there. I mean, if it does, great. I would definitely be looking for shorts. I just don't know. I don't know if you get it up there. Did we mitigate this this candle here? We kind of did. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's just this is definitely not something that I don't know. I don't want to. There's nothing I'm going to trade on it. You know, I haven't. One thing about gold is it just hasn't given, for me at least, hasn't given me much of really any clean entries that I want to play. I'd rather play something else that gives me a little better. Can I look at wheat? What's the ticker on the futures chart for wheat? Wheat USD. That's it. Nope. Oh, I guess I should spell it right. Bu -bu -bu -bu. Here we go. We'll look at this one. Yeah. So I mean, this is the contract on it. Yeah. So what about it? Or are we? Oh, look at that. Look at that. When did this spike up? March 2022. Imagine. What happened? What happened with wheat? Why did we see this huge appreciation here? I mean, I mean, I know with, is that what supply shortage? Is that what that is? Ukraine? Yeah, but we don't, I mean, I know the US doesn't get wheat from Ukraine. It was in conjunction with the war. Yeah, but why? Let's see. I mean, it's definitely in an area where I'd be looking for a potential buy. You're definitely seeing some buyers coming in the market. But they provide a lot for the world market. Yeah, but this isn't world wheat, right? This isn't world wheat. This is wheat futures on the New York Stock Exchange. So, yeah, we get fertilizer from Russia. No, okay. Why do we get fertilizer from Russia? That makes no sense. I don't understand that. You know, whatever. All right. So yeah, I mean, it's in a good area. Yeah. I mean, look at the reaction you're getting it. Look at that. I mean, you've got, I would say you get you get one more sweep. So this trades below it. I would say that, I mean, one of two things are going to happen. You're going to get this, and then this break, and that's your play. I mean, that's what I would anticipate. I'd have an alert here and just wait for that sweep. I mean, that's what we can get. What's tomorrow? I don't know. I'd look to see. I'm not up to speed on the individual companies, but I'd look to see earnings reports, because I know there's a tons of earnings reports in these next 2 weeks. I'd look to see what earnings reports are coming out. You may get that manipulation here. I mean, just think about how long they've been accumulating here. We're talking, what is that? Beginning of July. So we're talking 6 weeks of accumulations now. So I just box it out, put an alert, you know, put an alert at the high, put an alert at the low, wait for either manipulation or wait for strength, and then play the reaccumulations. That's what I would do with wheat. You know what? I traded wheat once. I traded it on Thinkorswim under futures, I think, just to try it out, but I just stick to the YM and the ES. Mainly because of EPA regulations. All right, that sounds more up to speed. Yeah, I got you. So, Ernie, well, I mean, that's pretty much everything I'm looking at. Anybody else? If you got anything else, say your piece now. If not, I'm gonna call it a night. Like I said, I feel like crap anyway, so I want to get to bed early. Yeah, I mean, it's a clean chart. I like the area. You know, it's definitely in an area where we could see, especially out of here. I'm curious. Hold on. I'm curious. Where's the manipulation? Oh, wait, where did we trade into? Did we trade into that? We did trade into that. So where are we in here? Let me just see where we are in here. Yeah, I mean, we're in the area. I like it. You know, you got it, man. Absolutely. Did I go over indices? I did. Yep. Yeah. If you want, jump over to the YouTube channel and you just rewatch it. So, pretty much it's easy, man. Keep buying indices until they say no. So just keep playing the reaccumulations. But awesome. I'll catch everybody later. Have a great one. Thanks for hopping on, and I'll catch everybody tomorrow. Have a good one.